We said that while condition is a condition-based repetition. So basically, we repeat doing some iteration, some process until a condition is satisfied. It is a condition-based repetition, but it doesn't mean that we can also use it for a specific number of times to repeat an operation to a specific number of times. Like, for instance, in this example, I want to draw a star by using this turtle library. So I need to repeat a certain action 5 times. So how can I do that? Well, we will use these counters. So counters is actually a very common approach in when we are using these while loops. And the main goal is that our condition, we want to repeat this process for a particular number of times using a while condition. So the while condition, while it is a condition-based repetition, I would like to use it to run it for a specific number of times. How can I do it? Well, again, in this code, we first import the turtle, and then we set the length, our length for each line, and then we go to location in our code, and then I would like to do it 5 times, but these have the same templates. First, I need to count how many times I will do it. So I define this counter variable. Counter is 1. And then in my while loop, I'm saying that counter is less than or equal to 5. So, which means that I would like to print it 5 times. And then I will do some action that I will talk about it later on. But then I incremented counter by 1. So what will happen is basically, counter is 1, it's less than 5. So do those actions. And then increment it by 1, so it is 2. 2 is less than 5, do it again, increment it to 3. 3 is less than 5, do it again, increment it to 4. 4 is less than 5, do it again, increment it to 5. 5 is less than or equal to 5, do it again, increment to 6. 6 is less than or equal to 5, no, so skip the while loop. So by doing that, what I did is basically I did this execution 5 times, and what will happen is basically I will move forward, turn right, then once, then move forward, turn right, then move forward, turn right, 3, move forward and turn right, 4, and move forward and turn right here, 6. Then basically I would be drawing an star by doing this action 5 times. But when we are writing the counter, there are multiple ways to do it for this counter condition. I can start it from 0 and then go up to 4, or I can start from 0 again, but instead of using less than or equal to sign, I can say only less than 5. Or I can say 5, 1, and then I can use less than, and then put here 6. So whenever we are doing these boundary operations, I should be careful about it. Like, is it really 5 times or not? It depends on where we start and where we stop. Based on that action, the result will be, I need to be ensured that, okay, it's not 4 times, it's not 6 times, but it is exactly 5 times. And based on our condition, again, we might want to increment it or maybe decrement it. Maybe we will go from 5 to 1, or maybe from 1 to 5. Based on that, it changes how I need to update my counter. Shall I proceed? And there's one more example. So let's say that we don't know how many times we want to run an iteration, but we want to ask it to the user, so the user can decide. Like, I want to do this, so we basically ask the user how many times you want to repeat this, as in this code. So we say, we first print a table of squares, and then from an input we say how high to go, and then we get it from the user as a string, and then we convert it to an integer, and we keep it in this limit variable. Then what we want to do is, for up to limit number, we want to print each number with its square value. So if the user enters 10, let's say, then the output should look like this. 1 and then 1 square, 2, 2 square, 4, 3, 3 square, 9, 4, 4 square, 16, up to 10, and 10 square is 100. I would like to print this one. So this is my goal. The thing is, again, this is again a counter operation. The only thing that changes is that now, in the beginning, I don't know if it is 5, 10, 100. I just get it from the user, but then I use it as my limit. Like, this is the how high the user wants to go. The user wants to, let's say, to print up to 10. So, but the template is same. I have one counter. I just give the name number here, and then I have this condition, and at each iteration, I update it. So actually, this is the main structure. I'm going back to the slides. I have one counter. I initialize it. I check whether I reach the limit, and then I update it at the end of each iteration. Similarly, I started from 1, and then go up to limit, which is 10 or so, whatever the user enters. But at the end of each iteration, I updated that my counter. And then what I want to print at each iteration is, like, let's look at this code again. The number, then a tab character here probably, and then it's square. So how can I print it? Using an F string, okay. I would like to print number value, which is 1, for instance, and then it will be an integer value, but I would like to use 2 spaces so that they will be more aligned. So as you can see here, I would like to use two spaces for that. This is why we have 2. And then I would like to put a tab character, and then in the second number I would like to put their square. So that's why I'm saying number times number. And then for that integer value, I would like to use 3 spaces because I have this also 100 here. I'm assuming that I won't have a larger value. But then when I do it, what will happen is basically, to simplify, let's iterate, limit is 3. So 1 is less than 3. So I will print 1 and then 1, and I will increment it to 2. 2 is less than or equal to 3. So I will print 2, 4. And I will increment it to 3. 3 is less than or equal to 3. 3, 9, and then I will increment it to 4, and then the condition will be false, and I will exit from the while loop. Do you have any question? This counter operation is a very popular way. We use it in many different tasks, because basically I want to run a particular an action, repeat an action particular times, and how can I do it with while loop? By assigning these kind of counter variables. The other one is augmented assignment operator. What is this? Well, as I keep saying, software developers are actually very lazy person. We don't like typing a lot. So instead of typing a statement longer, there are always in many cases, there are some shortcuts for it. And this is also true for this update statements. Like, I want to update a value. Like, I want to increase it by 5, decrease it by 5, multiply it by 5, or so. So any amount of number. How I can do it? I first need to write the variable name that I want to update, and then equal sign, and then the variable name again, and then how I would like to update it. Like, I can increment it, decrease it, multiply it, and so on and so. Instead of writing it in this way, there's a shorter way to do it. Like, instead of saying x is equal to x plus 5, I will say x plus equal 5. Whenever you see this part, it means that update x and add 5. If you see minus equal sign, it means that, okay, now we will decrease 5 from x, or we will multiply 5 by x. We will divide x by 5. We'll do an integer division for x and divide it by 5. We will take the modulus of x based on 5. So when we divide x by 5, what is the remainder? Or we will take the power, square of power 5 of x. So instead of saying it, write it in this way, I will write it in this way. Those have exactly the same meaning. It will not change the result, but it is just less amount of typing, and so that it will be also easier to read once you get used to that. And if you, this might be somehow tricky, if you see this kind of statement like x asterisk sign equals sign, and then a plus b, it means again, I will first calculate a plus b, and then multiply it by x, and then update the value of x. So this is again, if you write any of these in the quiz or the midterm, they will be same, they will be correct. Like going to our code, for instance, in our update part. Yeah, here you see, for instance, an update part here. Instead of writing in this way, I can also write it in this way, and they will have exactly the same meaning. Shall I proceed? So again, in our code, in the previous example that we were printing here, we had this update statement, number is equal to number plus 1. I can also write it now, number plus equal 1. They have exactly the same meaning. All right. Any questions so far? And input validation with while loop. What is this? Well, it is actually a very, again, a common programming style. What is this? Well, let's say that you are implementing a menu, like for the users, for English, press 2, to talk with the finance department, press 3, to talk with the customer manager, press 4, to go back to main menu, press 5. Okay? So you are expecting the user to input the numbers between 2 and 5, but then the user hits 9. Then what should you do? Like, it's not in your menu list. But then what should we do? Should we, okay, 9, then what? We don't have that kind of an option. Or maybe you ask a user, okay, enter your score. A score should be between 0 and 100, but the student or the user, whoever entering the data, entered 150. Okay, that's invalid probably. Then like there shouldn't be that kind of a bonus points, or maybe minus 20. So again, a score shouldn't be minus 20. But what should I do in this case? Like, should I just proceed? Okay, he got minus 20, let's just proceed. Probably it shouldn't be. It means that, okay, there's a problem with that data, so I shouldn't process that. Or maybe it can be also, like I entered, okay, what is your age? And then the user said, instead of 40 for 40, he wrote FORTY. Okay, semantically it is correct, but later on I will convert it to integer, and it will kill my program. It will cause an error if I allow them to enter with the letters. So it should be always some digits. So in many cases, we need to force the user to provide valid data. Like even though when you sign up a forum, or maybe you are buying a ticket, then they ask you date of birth, and then if you say, okay, I was born in 2030, okay, that doesn't make sense. So the system shouldn't allow me. Otherwise, people will provide all these kind of invalid values to us just for fun, intentionally or maybe unintentionally. So the goal is that, okay, we shouldn't allow them to provide us invalid data. How can I do it? Well, I can do it with while loop as a one way. How is it? Well, I will get the input from the user. Then I will check. Is that valid? Is that input invalid? If it is invalid, then I'll display an error message. Okay, your score should be between 0 and 100. It shouldn't be minus 20. And then I will ask him, can you now re-enter again, please? So, and then we get the input again. We'll check it again. Then we'll check it again. If it is, then say, okay, Now we put 150. Really? No, it shouldn't be. This is not the case. I'm not accepting that. So I will please re-enter again. So and then we will check it again until then. Whenever the input is valid, like maybe 50. Okay, now we can proceed. So that the program will not proceed at all until the user will provide us some valid input. This is the main idea. Here is an example. Again, we are using this input function to get to get data from the user. We say enter a number between 1 and 100, and then we convert it to integer value, and then we keep it in this number variable. And then I check my condition. Is it a valid number? So if the number is less than 1, or if it is greater than 100, then it should be invalid. So what I will do is I will not proceed. So I need to re-get the input. So that's why I'm using this input again. Number with an error message, which is number must be between 1 and 100. Re-enter the number. So the user will enter it again. We will then convert it to integer, and then we will keep it again in the number, and then we will check again. And then if it is still invalid, we will ask it again. Once the value is between 1 and 100, we will skip the while loop so that we can continue our execution. Here is an example execution of this code. Like the user first enters 200, we ask it again. 251, we ask it again. -10, we ask it again. 5, okay, then we can proceed. Shall I proceed? Any questions so far?